Hello, my emerging spiritual teachers. Let's talk about the 5 common fears that so many of us have when starting a spiritual business. We've learned a lot about how to make this a business, but let's talk about the blocks that stop us from actually going from a hobbyist into that work that you're really being called to do. Why are we blocking ourselves? Why can't we unlock our voice and our message? What's going on there? Let's try to heal that today. First block. What are my friends and family going to think? Oh my gosh, this is such a big one. I felt that so much. I was raised Catholic, was born to Cuban parents, very traditional. And when the Spirit was calling me to do readings, I was like, wrong number, who dis? Because that did not feel like it was for me. I was really afraid of what my Catholic friends were gonna think, what my parents were gonna think. And then this idea of having to put it out on social media, oh my gosh, I was so afraid. And this is something that really blocks us from sharing our gifts, from sharing our calling. It's funny how this calling is coming from God, from our soul, from our truth. And yet we're putting all these humans in front of that. We are saying all these humans and their egos and their opinions are more important than what is divinely being spoken to me. So that's a quick reframe to remember, where is this message coming through? Where is it coming for you? Who's giving you this message within you? And are you willing to obey that spirit that's within you? Or should we obey all these people who are a bit afraid about living fully and living their truth? So that was a big one for me, that I was I understand that they're all concerned for me. I get it that my mom doesn't want me to be undateable. I was single at the time, and I'm sure she was thinking this girl's never gonna get married if she comes out and says she does these things. So it definitely comes from a good place and also a lot of judgment, but only you know that divine calling that is coming through you, and who are you going to listen to? That divine calling or these people who are full of fear? So I'm going to give you a little reframe. I wrote it down, that's why I'm looking down. When making my spiritual work, I focus on those who are seeking support and healing. I do not need to prove myself. So when you're thinking about putting yourself out there, sharing your gifts, telling people what you're doing, you're not thinking about your mom who is afraid of what you're gonna do. You're gonna think about the woman who is suffering and could really use your healing. That's who you're gonna focus on as well. You don't need to prove yourself to anybody around you. It's not about that, because you're not trying to save people that don't want healing. You're going to be working with people who are ready for your healing. Common block number 2, what if I don't make enough money? And I get that one, right? I remember when I wasn't making a lot of money doing my work, and I was like, God, you literally called me to do this work, and now I cannot pay for my, for my things. How does this all work? And I really learned to, number 1, humble myself, because business is business. So it doesn't mean just because I open the doors and I tell everybody that this is the work I'm doing, that I'm owed whatever. I really learned that it's something I had to grow into, but I also learned that even though it took steps, that I was supported. I think it's so important to hold the energy of being supported, because for me, I physically wasn't supported, nobody around me was supporting. Not even my husband believed in what I was doing when I started to make it a business. So physically, nobody was there to support, but I had to lean into I am supported. The divine supports me. And the more I felt into that support, actually, the more people showed up and started to support me, because your business doing well is actually the energy of support. When your business is doing well, it's because other people are supporting your work. They're giving you money because they believe in what you're doing and they believe that it is helping. We have to feel into that energy instead of thinking about the fear of am I gonna make money, whatever. Don't worry about money, think about support. Really, every time money shows up, replace it with I'm supported, and really taking some time to feel what it feels like to be supported. There's people showing up, people are, trusting me and they're putting money into my bank account. Really feeling that energy, that is the shift. When we think about, am I gonna make money? We have to shift into, I know that I'm supported. This work is supported. Ultimately, I'm going to make that income because I am supported. This work is supported. The divine is supporting me in this process. Common fear number 3, what if I'm not qualified? Like, what if I'm not good enough to teach, right? Like, who am I to be a spiritual mentor? I'm a disaster, or I still drink, or I still eat sugar, right? And we have all those like human fears. And the truth is, first of all, this is not about being perfect by any means. This is about sharing and teaching what you have within you right now. There's always going to be somebody just a little bit behind you that could use that guidance. That's like saying my 10-year-old son, I mean, he's 10, so what kind of like life experience does he have? But you know what? He's an amazing mentor to my 5-year-old son because he has lived 5 years longer and he has been through things. Actually, my 10-year-old is a better mentor to my 5-year-old than I am a mentor to my 5-year-old, or that my husband is to my 5-year-old, because there is so much distance between us. So I want you to know that like where you are at is actually magic and so special. I know you might be like, oh, but I want to be like that spiritual teacher or that enlightened being. But sometimes the enlightened beings are so far away, right? That enlightened being isn't drinking and isn't eating sugar, and they're so far away from the 5-year-old that the 5-year-old cannot see anything in common with the enlightened being. So where you are is so perfect. You will continue to learn and study and expand more and more, but you are needed right now exactly where you are. Common fear number 4, what if I can't attract clients? I get it, right? You're like, okay, I can maybe do this thing, but like, what if nobody shows up? What's that saying? If you build it, they will come. What if they don't come? And here's how you're gonna shift yourself out of that. Your people are gonna come because you know them very well. And you know them well probably because your client is probably a former version of yourself. And what you're going to do is you're going to forget about yourself, because that's where all the blocks are. We start to think too much about ourselves. And I want you to tap into the heart of your client. So whatever it is that you're offering, you know, whatever it is that you're gonna work with, even if it's you're writing a book or you're gonna see clients one-on-one, take a minute to just feel their hearts. So what does it feel like to be Sally who's suffering from this? And as you know her and you know her heart, you will speak to her. So maybe in this video, you might feel like, man, she's like speaking to me. And it's because I'm thinking about you. And I have met many of you. You are a former version of myself. So I know how to care for you. So when you're worried about, are they gonna find me? Just connect to their hearts. So go into your heart, get out of your mind, go into your heart and connect to your person's heart, and they will find you because you're gonna know how to express what they are feeling. And that's what marketing is, and that's what copywriting is, right? At the end of the day, I know it feels like, oh, I don't know business, or I don't know sales or anything. But the truth is, you are gonna know them through there. And listen, do not be afraid to use AI or artificial intelligence. Actually, I run all my programs on Teachable, which is a software program to put your courses and your digital products up. I love it. And there's an AI option that actually helps you make, let's say, curriculum for your kind of person. So if you're a little iffy about like, what are their fears? Like, what are they feeling? You can actually use some of those tools as well, but it's really gonna stem from your heart. And then ultimately those tools are gonna be just more like the technical aspects of what you end up doing in a bigger way. And common fear number 5 is, what if I'm not techy? So what if you're a really great healer but don't know anything about technology? I see this all the time. Actually, like some people that, let's say my therapists that come into my programs and they have been practicing for 25 years. Like these people are like OGs, like they know what they're doing, right? But to now get online, because I think one of the reasons we get called to spiritual work is also, of course, the lifestyle, the flexibility, you know, and the fact that it's online, that you are not, you know, stuck in this one place. So with online, and actually with business in general, even if you have a brick and mortar place, online stuff and everything digital is a must, right? We can't avoid it. How can one get into this business but feel scared about being techie? So here's a reframe. There is a solution for everything. You're gonna go online and you can search things. You can hire somebody to help you. You can barter with somebody who might need healing and exchange for you some computer time, you will figure this out. And remember, you will learn technology along the way. So for me, the first technology I had to learn was like, how do I make a little calendar link to get people to book sessions with me? And there's softwares for that make it really easy. And then when I started to get into courses, I was like, how do I make a course? And guess what? There's software programs that do that. I have tried them all, and I ended up landing on Teachable, and I've been with Teachable for many years, have made a lot of money in courses with Teachable, and everything is just so easy. And even these softwares that you work with, like Teachable, you can actually email them and ask them for support. There's tons of videos. I mean, this is a video that Teachable is providing, right? So there's a lot of support there. Technology is like not as complicated. I really want you to not let that be an excuse for you living your purpose. Like this little technology thing is gonna get in the way of you, your soul, living what you're truly called for. I really want you to know that there's solutions for that, and you're gonna figure it out. Ask God, be like, hey God, I don't know what I'm doing here. Please help me so that I can get this word out, and you will attract the right support and find the right programs and all of that so that you can expand beyond the fear of technology. I hope these reframes and these shifts were helpful. I really am passionate about you living your truth, helping more people, healing people. That's how we're gonna change the world. And remember, stay connected to the light, because that's what's got you here in the first place, and that is what's gonna guide you. The more connected, the more we release fear, the more connected we are to the light, the more this business, this work, all of that's gonna happen. All right, it was so beautiful being with you. I'm Nikki Novo, and I will see you next time.